But before any of that stuff can even get done, we have to take a look at the misguided missile that can destroy everything this upcoming season, and that is the WNBA referees. And some footage has been released of the WNBA referees' secret agenda against Caitlin Clark. The biggest hurdles for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever last season was the WNBA referees. Now, the front office made it their business to revamp the team, bring in more aggressive players to help them get further in the WNBA.
May 14th, 2024, Caitlin Clark's first professional game. The rookie sensation drives to the basket, gets hammered by defenders, and nothing. No whistle. The refs stand just feet away, watching it all. This wasn't just opening night jitters from the officials. It was the beginning of what appears to be a season-long pattern.
But when you look at this thing through the data says that it wasn't just Caitlin Clark that had a hard time getting to the free throw line. It was the entire Indiana Fever basketball team. Yes, there was a secret agenda against Caitlin Clark when it comes to fouls not being called, when it comes to her getting to the free throw line. But now, we know they made it to the playoffs to play Connecticut, but what if I was to tell you there was data shown that the Indiana Fever could have possibly won game 2, sent the game back to Indiana? We could have had a different story.
I've spent weeks collecting and analyzing footage from every Fever game this season. What I found was shocking. A consistent pattern of missed calls that directly impacted Clark's performance and her team's record. And I have the receipts. Actual game footage that will make you wonder what's really going on with WNBA officiating. You know what's crazy? I spent hours watching every Fever game this season, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The refs were standing right there when Clark got hit, and they just did nothing.
Now, we know she was physically assaulted on numerous occasions, but a lot of those fouls wasn't flagrant 1 fouls. They wasn't personal fouls. They was just regular fouls. This is irrelevant going into the 2025 season. And I'm here to tell you, this is not irrelevant. We got to talk about this because everybody is forgetting what exactly happened last year to Caitlin. Now, her very first WNBA game. See, no one paid attention to the referees. That's what we need to watch throughout this season that is coming up. Is these referees.
It's like they had some unwritten rule to swallow their whistles whenever Caitlin was involved. Let's start with that first game against Connecticut Sun. Clark drives to the basket, gets absolutely hammered, and the ref is literally 3 feet away looking right at it. No call. That's not basketball. That's just unfair.
They are the ones that can make or break a season. I'm telling you right now, there was an agenda against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and I'm finna expose it right now.
A touch foul on the player the people are there to see.
Harris has it popped in the air. Thomas is going to be fouled by Clark.
Up for her first game, the time's winding down in the first half, and you'll see she gets hit on the arm.
The replay showed clear contact across the arms, the kind of foul that gets called 10 times out of 10 for veterans in this league. But for Clark, silence. But this wasn't just a one-time thing. I found clip after clip where Clark gets pushed, grabbed, and hit with no whistle. I'm talking about obvious fouls that would get called for any other player. There was this play in the third quarter against the Mystics where a defender literally had both hands on Clark's back, pushing her while she shot. The ref was right there on the baseline with a perfect view. Nothing. Check out this play against New York Liberty. Clark gets knocked to the floor going for a rebound. Ref is staring right at it and nothing. Then the exact same contact happens to Stewart on the other end. Instant whistle. I'm not making this up. I watched it happen live and had to rewind my TV like 3 times because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Same game, same quarter, same referee, completely different standard. The numbers don't lie either. Clark only averaged 4 free throw attempts per game, while other stars like Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart got 7 to 8 per game. That's almost double. For someone who handles the ball as much as Clark and drives to the basket constantly, that stat makes 0 sense. It's not like she's just shooting threes all game. She's attacking, creating contact, and somehow not getting the calls. Remember when Angel Reese said some players got a special whistle? She was right, but not how you think. Clark got a special no-call whistle all season. The evidence is right there in plain sight. I'm not even an Indiana fan, but watching this happen game after game just felt wrong. How is a rookie supposed to adjust to the league when the rules seem different just for her? I tracked every drive to the basket for 5 games straight. Clark got contact on 65% of her drives, but only got calls on 22% of those contacts. That's way below league average. Most stars in this league get calls on around 40% of contact drives. This isn't some small difference. It's a massive gap that affected game after game. The Indiana Fever as a team ranked 10th in free throw attempts. 10th. With a player who attacks the rim as much as Clark does, that makes 0 sense. Teams with aggressive guards typically rank in the top half of the league in free throw attempts. But somehow the Fever ended up near the bottom, and it's not because they were settling for jumpers all season. There was this ridiculous sequence against Chicago where Clark got hit 3 separate times on the same possession. A grab on her drive, a hip check that threw her off balance, and then a slap on the arm during her shot. No call. The very next play, a Chicago player gets breathed on, and it's an immediate whistle. The inconsistency was just mind-blowing. What's even more concerning is how this affected the Fever's season. They lost 8 games by 5 points or less. Games where even a couple extra free throws could have changed everything. There was that heartbreaker against Seattle where they lost by just 2 points, and Clark had 3 obvious no calls in the 4th quarter alone. Just giving her the fouls she deserved could have completely changed the Fever's season and playoff chances. Did WNBA referees really have a secret agenda against Caitlin Clark? The evidence is pretty clear. There was a consistent pattern of missed calls that can't just be explained by rookie treatment or coincidence. It went beyond the typical earn your respect that rookies face. This looked deliberate at times, like they were determined not to give her calls, regardless of how obvious the contact was. I'm not saying there's some conspiracy, but something was definitely off all season. Maybe it was the pressure of the spotlight, or maybe some refs didn't like all the attention Clark was bringing to the league. Whatever it was, it created an uneven playing field. Even opposing coaches noticed it. One was caught on a hot mic saying, "They're letting her get murdered out there." So let's talk about what this all means for the WNBA moving forward. Consistent officiating isn't just about fairness to Caitlin Clark. It's essential for the entire league's growth. When your biggest stars aren't protected equally, it damages the integrity of the whole game. The playoffs showed us exactly why this matters. The Fever couldn't advance partly because of these inconsistent calls. That's not just unfair to Clark and her team. It's bad for fans who want to see the best possible basketball. For the WNBA to reach its full potential, every player needs equal treatment from the officials. What did you see this season? Drop your thoughts below.